Kings, queens, and in-betweens, welcome back to the City Boys podcast. My name is Ethan Thornton, and I am joined by one of my best friends, Grayson Knight, and we are here to talk about St. Louis City's 2-1 victory over the Portland Timbers. Boss man, I cannot
Come
believe that we
on.
finally have a victory to talk about. In this episode, we are going to take you through the game, give our match points, give everyone's favorite brawl a go in Kit Clash, and then we are going to get you ready for St. Louis City's upcoming game against FC Dallas. Before we get into the episode, though, Grayson, how are you doing, boss?
Buddy, honestly, I am on top of the world right now. It's been an amazing weekend for soccer for me
Oh,
as a Chelsea fan.
here we go.
Best club in the world. Are you kidding me? And then we got St. Louis City, second best team in the world on the
Hey,
way after beating Portland Timbers, and Chelsea beating PSG. Just a little, little different level in competition there, but you know, St. Louis City will catch up someday.
well, you had quite a double header this weekend, Grayson. Yeah, you had a sweet treat from Chelsea
Oh
and
yeah.
St. Louis City.
Gotta love it.
I gotta tell you, I could care less for Chelsea, but for once, I was very happy once a St. Louis City game ended, Grayson. I had a busy weekend, dude. I was visiting some friends up in Michigan, and I caught this game on the way back. What an incredible match for St. Louis City. The group chat was blowing up, and reasonably so, because we started this game on an emotional low. It once again, St. Louis City goes down early.
Oh
We have
yeah.
not won a single time this season after conceding first. So, rightfully so, we were not very happy that that's how the game had started off.
Jacob immediately texted, "We lost," and I'm happy to say that St. Louis City actually proved us wrong for once. So,
The boys showed a
yeah,
lot of fight this match, and I think there's so much to take away from this game, Grayson. It's a St. Louis City game that felt reminiscent of happier times in the club. Why
hmm
don't we get into this game, though? Let's start us off with the lineups, good sir.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into it. So we've got another 4-2-3-1 from Critchley with Roman Berkey. Just so good for him to be in the starting lineup as always. And then I gotta give him his credit. Orozco has been
Wow.
lovely at
Yep.
left back. Absolutely lovely. He's definitely earned the starting left back spot for me. Uh, Extremely impressed with his work.
Mm.
So, Josh Yarrow and Jake Gerwood Reich in the center back pairing for this week was a little worrisome, but they both really impressed this week. We had Thomas Totland on the right doing Thomas Totland things, whipping in crosses. And this week we had a similar midfield that to ones that we've seen before, but a
Yeah.
different outcome for sure. Night and day for Thomas Ostrick and Conrad Valem, who really were both running their asses off. Shout out to Ostrick and Valem for the incredible amount of passing they did this week. Celio Pompeu starting on the left wing for us. Possible that he dislocated his shoulder during the match,
Didn't look
um,
good.
but nothing concrete on that. But hopefully he'll be back and ready to go for next week. Man of the match, Marcel Hartel, in the
Woo.
10, and then on the right, Thomas Teukert.
Thomas
Course,
Toykert.
whatever. Uh, Joao Klaus up top.
Oh, dude, we got two Thomases in the side. A third
Thinking
would
of
be
Tuchel.
incredible. Well, Gray, what did you think of the starting 11? You mentioned that prior to the game, we felt a little bit skeptical about Josh Arrow and JGR starting as our center backs. I think it is a step down on paper from Henry Kessler and Timo Baumgartel. But like you said, I think they impressed this game.
Yeah, Jake Gerwood Reich. Oh, geez, his name is a mouthful for sure. Has made it clear that he loves to play center back over
Hmm.
the many cameos we've seen him play as the six. And I agree, he's definitely looked way more comfortable in the back of the team, holding back that line. he's got a bit of pace on him, so he can take on some challenges when the ball skips away from the midfield a little bit. So I've honestly been really impressed with him. And when we do have our healthiest, best center back pairing, he may not be in there, but whenever our guys do get injured, I feel pretty confident with JGR back there. And for Yarrow, yeah, once again, gotta shout him out for having a full 90 with no major mistakes.
Yep.
Had a good game with distribution too. He took some risks with his passing, and they all kind of worked out this week. Uh, Honestly, did a great job. So I was really impressed with him too.
Well, yeah, like you said, it's a positive thing when you don't have many notes on your center back pairings. That's something that we've talked about in the past. And this game, I don't have really any notes for Josh Yarrow, and that is a rare occasion, it feels like, this season. So very happy for Mr. Yarrow, like you said.
Yes,
I was
sir.
also very happy to see Celio Pompeu back in the starting 11, Grayson. We mentioned it last week that we thought it was funny and odd that he was not in the starting 11. And I think he did Celio Pompeu things in this game. He looked electric on that left hand side, constantly running at defenders, constantly creating dangerous chances. I love how he is able to change his points of attack. It's it's never predictable with Celio Pompeu. He's very skilled at taking it to the line and cutting inside. I think he's a threat to shoot around that area in the top of the box, and he just causes chaos that leads to chances for St. Louis City.
Yeah, he almost had a goal on one of those chances where he cut back inside and cut it to the far post, and it just skimmed the outside of the post there. But honestly, I am curious what you thought about Cedric Teuchert's game this week, because I felt that he didn't have the best game again, but I've seen some praise for him on the internet, so I wanted to uh, get your opinion on his game for this week.
I still don't believe that Toykert is up to the level that the City Boys podcast had him prior to the season. We were expecting almost 20 goals out of Cedric Toykert, and I still do believe he has that quality in him. It just has not been on display so far this season. Grayson, I do think that he had a better game or against Portland than he did last week.
For
Still,
sure.
for me, I'm kind of with you. I don't have any negative words. I don't have any criticisms for him this match. I do think he was more positive, and I think that he seems like he's getting more comfortable out on that right hand side. I think it is worth noting that his strongest position is probably underneath Joao Klaus as
Mhm.
opposed to out on the wing. So to his credit, I think he's making the most out of that. I still, like you, Grayson, would like to see more of a Celio Pompeu kind of player out on that side. I think really feeding our hot hand in Joao Klaus.
Let's go ahead and take a peek at some of these subs that we made this week because there was a big one. Edu Leuven is
Oh my
back
God,
on the
man.
pitch. And honestly, this cameo was fun. I thought he made a pretty decent impact,
Yes,
looked
he
very
did.
confident on the ball. There was a moment near the end of the match where St. Louis held on to the game and for once looked comfortable seeing out a match.
Yep.
We were taking the balls to the corners, skipping out past the Portland press,
Yeah.
and instead of, taking chances, we'll take it to the corner, mess around a little bit, and then inevitably we get the ball back to a place where we probably should take a chance, and Edu Leuven almost has a couple chances there. He had a couple free kicks that were pretty dangerous as well,
Yeah.
so
Well,
just excited to see him back.
I loved seeing Edu take a bite of the apple, take his chances toward the end of the game. The game was mostly put away at that point, and I know the more responsible decision would have been to see out chances like that into the corner. But I think a player like Edu Lovin would like to hit the back of the net and be impactful in his first match back. I think that was very clear and evident, and the 25-minute cameo that he had could not have been more impactful from a substitute standpoint. I guess it could have been if he would have scored or assisted. So that's technically not true, but from a non statistical standpoint, the energy that he brought back into the stadium, Edu's substitution brought the stadium back to life. You could hear it on the broadcast. I can only imagine what the energy in City Park felt like seeing our number 10 run onto the field. The leadership that he brought and the composure that he brought into the side in that time period in the game, Grayson. Not to mention a very weak time period for St. Louis City this season. We have harped on the fact that the final 15 minutes are usually one of our worst periods in the game. We have not had that ability to close out victories. Edu Levin comes into the game, puts in a strong around 30 minutes, including added time, and St. Louis City are able to see out the 3 points. That is not a coincidence to me.
And it's no easy task that we have turned this game around coming from behind. Because there is a crazy stat I'm about to share with you. I think it was Chat City Tactics that I saw tweet this. But this was our first come from behind win since 2023.
Wow,
That's 2 years. That's
brother.
it. I think our last turnaround win was against maybe Minnesota in season one. That's a guess. I have no idea.
I don't know if the City Boys existed the last time we had a come from behind victory, dude.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think so.
So nice to be talking about that, man. Especially given that I think someone at Apple TV producing St. Louis City games hates St. Louis City because as soon as that goal goes in, that stat comes in. Oh for
Oh,
Wank since conceding first this season,
you had it
and
prepped.
now there's at least going to be a one instead of that goose egg. St. Louis City are fighting the wooden spoon allegations. Just to wrap up the subs, Grayson, Simon Betcher featured for Cedric Toykert, I believe. No, Celio Pompeo, I'm sorry, when
Mm.
he went down injured on a disgusting play by Kevin Kelsey, by the way. Hate that. If you go back and look at the replay, he clearly fouls him off the ball and then hits his shoulder. Disgusting stuff. And then Akil Watts for Cedric Toykert. I was slightly worried when Akil Watts came into the game, Grayson. Frankly, Kyle Hebert also entered the game for Yaziel Orozco, who had just
Mm.
run his race at that point. Fantastic
Yeah, he
effort
was
from him.
gassed. Left everything on the field there, so I'm not mad about it.
But the quality
Yeah,
dropped when the subs came on in some
definitely.
places on the field. So I was a little bit worried. And for us to close this game out was, oh, wow, so euphoric.
Yeah, I'm not terribly mad about the Akil sub for Toykert. We remove an attacking player, add another player that can help shore up that midfield, help control the ball. And honestly, that's what we did for those last couple minutes of the match. You know, Portland was trying to press a lot. We just absorbed it, recycled it, and sent some players on a run. So I was pretty impressed with how Critchley handled the end of this match. This was a big
Agreed.
turnaround after some pretty big fumbles a couple weeks in a row. So I know
Yeah.
pressure was mounting, you know, that we're getting further and further away from playoffs. Well, this is a step forward. So, you know, we'll take it as it comes. We'll give them their flowers for sure.
Right. Yeah. If we have a one game at a time mentality, all we can be right now is pretty happy with how things have gone.
Yeah.
Well, Grayson, let's get into the game and break down these goals for us really quickly. And I have the unfortunate pleasure of talking about Portland's goal this week because once again, Portland actually scored a pretty nice goal against us. Once again, it's another very preventable goal in the case of St. Louis City. David Acosta would pick up the ball around just after the midfield circle. He takes around 4 touches, sets himself up right on the top of our box, picks out the bottom right corner, and puts it away. It's a quality attacking goal from a very quality attacking player. Grayson and I mentioned it last week to look out for David DaCosta. I don't know if that made it into St. Louis City scouting report or not, but
Definitely.
man, it was way too much time for him on the ball there, and he puts it away. Grayson, we've talked about this before. This seems like a goal that St. Louis City concedes on almost a weekly basis at this point. Unfortunately, Jake Girdwood Reich and all 4 defenders are backing off, backing off. There's this pocket of space on the right side of the defense from where Totland had just evacuated to try and join the attack. Something to St. Louis City's credit, though, I do want to give the team credit on this goal. I actually see players sprinting back, and this is not something that was guaranteed through the first half of the season, it felt like. But João Klaus sprints back, Conrad Volum is sprinting back, Yaziel Orozco is sprinting back, and Celio Pompeu is actually already in the box once this goal goes in. So I do want to give the team credit as far as team defending. I do need to see improvements, specifically on that right hand side of the field, man. It seems like we are leaking goals from that right hand side. What did you see on this goal?
Yeah, I think you're right. Is we're seeing a little bit of a shift in mentality, but not 100%. We're seeing people starting
Yep.
to sprint and starting to pressure the ball. But what we need and what I think we will have, although, well, hold on. Well, I was about to say we need someone in the back line to take responsibility and press the guy driving towards the defense.
Yeah.
Um, and I was about to say that, maybe it's because we do have JGR. He's younger. He's not as confident, stepping forward and breaking his formation there. So maybe when we have our starting lineup back in, but then that same thing happened to Kessler a couple weeks ago. So
Well, yeah, and it's unfortunate because it happened against Portland, right? Anthony gets that crazy touch over Thomas Totland. He's sprinting at Henry Kessler, and Kess is backing off, expecting help from the two holding midfielders that never comes. And by the time it's too late to step. It's too late. So, unfortunate first goal for us to concede. I do think there were some bright sides on that two-sided coin, and once again, it seems like a team that has scored just a little bit too early against St. Louis City, dude.
yeah, it's nice to be on the other side of this because it's usually St. Louis City that's scoring way too early, and
And
then the
conceding a lead.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it happens a lot. So it's nice to be on the other end of things because it would be St. Louis City that scores next, and it would be Marcel Hartel, man of the match, getting his first goal of the game. And this one was kind of a sloppy one that ends in the cleanest strike. Uh, so Hartel's like driving, and it seems to like bounce off their defender while Klaus and Hartel are both pressuring him. So it just bounces straight up in the air, and Hartel comes in with the cleanest volley and just roofs it, almost puts a
Perfect
hole in the back of the
contact.
net. It was a beautiful goal. And really, if you've been watching Marcel Hartel's game for the whole season, like this is so deserved. It's about time one
Mhm.
of these went in. So yeah, very, very happy that Hartle got this goal. And it was coming because St. Louis City had so much control of this game. So much of the possession was in Portland's half, just St. Louis City passing it around in their half. So it was nice to see St. Louis holding that high line and keeping that pressure up. And I think that definitely contributed to that first goal. We just kept keeping up the pressure. And then eventually those sloppy goals will fall our way.
Yeah, well said, Grayson. I loved seeing us score this goal. Marcel Hartel is one of the hardest workers in the team all season, and to see him rewarded finally with a heck of an effort, just fantastic.
It's really about time. And then St. Louis City would get rewarded with the second goal, the game winner, the game decider, another goal from Marcel Hartel. And this one was another kind of strange one in the end, but it would come from Conrad Wallem. His really beautiful cross he struck to the far post. Marcel Hartel rises up and heads it to the top post and Crepeau, and I think it comes off the defender as well, deflects off the defender and beats Crepeau, but um, just so class from Hartel there to get his head on the ball, just put it on
Yeah.
target. That's all you need there is just put it on target. And yeah, St. Louis City clutched it out and yeah, held out for the rest of the game. I think that's something we haven't seen from City is at the end of the game, we often start to lose
We start falling
possession.
off.
The other team just creates a siege. It's shot after shot after shot. And I think something big and different in this match was that we were able to break their press. And instead of just bombing it out, we would actually find players with these um, uh, passes out. And we could just break. We'll send Betcher down the line. We'll send Hartel down the line. We'll send Leuven break out. We'll send him to the corner. So yeah, it was just a very, very different look for St. Louis City and how we handled this match. So I was very impressed. Very impressed.
Me too, Grayson. So rewarding to see St. Louis City hold out a victory, hold out for 3 points, not concede a lead. As a matter of fact, the opposite. Yeah, wonderful stuff. And yeah, really glad for Hartel. Deserved team of the match day performance from our number 17. 2 goals. Gotta love it.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the table real quick because I'm a little curious. So we do break past LA Galaxy. We are not on the bottom of the table. We're 3 points ahead of LA Galaxy. So that's something to be proud of. That's something. And Portland, honestly, we're about to break into the top four if they were able to beat us, but since they weren't, they sit on 33 points, tied with the Sounders, who put a little hurting on Kansas City this week. So that was pretty nice. Very happy with
Thanks.
that.
Appreciate
So
that, Seattle.
yeah, we currently sit, what is that? 8 points. Yeah, 8 points off a playoff spot, 9 points off a playoff spot. Yeah, 9 points off Austin FC there. So definitely a lot of work to do. But St. Louis City likes to work. So let's see what we got.
Yeah, man. I it's funny talking about this after last episode because that felt like the straw that broke the camel's back. We were completely defeated and essentially out on the season. We
Yeah,
had no hope that St. Louis City were going to be able to come within sniffing distance of a playoff spot, and to still be within that after one game is hilarious. It's a great turn of heel. Jacob is not here this week, if you haven't noticed by now, but he wanted it to be known that he needed this win. He needed this victory as a
he
St. Louis
needed it.
City fan. It was a mental thing, and he's speaking for quite a lot of St. Louis City fans when he says that. I think, dude, it was just a mental relief to know that not only against a top five team in the West, but we can come from behind and get results. Like, this is the kind of signature win that you pin on the locker room whiteboard, and you count on when you need spirit going forward. So I love this for St. Louis City, and I'm really excited to talk about my point, man. I don't know about you.
Yeah, yeah, we can go ahead and get into it.
My point for this week, Grayson, is that the commentators, they were talking about how reminiscent of a 2023 the St. Louis City team felt. And the reason it felt that way was because of our effective high press, man. For once, St. Louis City's high press was cohesive, effective, and it didn't give us any goals. Granted, it did lead to quite a lot of chances for St. Louis City though early on in the game, and I think that just caused a belief that infected the team for the rest of the game. That's why we see St. Louis City able to come from behind, because they're getting these chances early on. Like you said earlier on, they're getting these sloppy, hard fought chances higher up the field. We're just possessing the ball a little bit more in our attacking half. And I give that credit to our high press. For me, Zhao Klaus, of minus his scoring streak, has been incredible in this run of games since Critchley arrived. And for me, it's because he's pulling the strings of the attack. He is the trigger of the high press. The press goes with him. When he presses, Celio presses, Hartel presses, Betcher or Toykert presses. And for once, it's finally cohesive. We see Klaus directing runs. He literally pointed out a run for Celio over the top on Sunday night. It was fantastic. And to see at least that side of our defense be effective is fantastic. And it makes me believe in the rest of the defense stepping up as well. We haven't had our starting attack or our starting defense for a while, excuse me. So I believe that as we get players like Henry Kessler, Timo Baumgartel, Chris Durkin back into the starting 11, that we are going to be a much better team going forward. And I give our credit to our win against Portland to the effective high press.
Hey, I'd have to agree with that. I mean, it was just lights out. Everyone was just running their ass off. And I think if they know that Critchley is going to, support them and give them a sub whenever they need it, they can leave it all on the field. I think that's really important.
Right.
Um, And also, I think just avoiding injuries for the rest of the season will
Oh
be
my God.
extremely important. I cannot emphasize this enough, and it's it's something that you can't. I mean, you can go talk about prevention a lot, but it's a lot of things that they're doing on site that we don't get to see. That comes in terms of prevention and injury prevention and that sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
you know, we'll see.
Yeah,
But
man. And I give it that a lot of credit to the high press because it's well on paper, in my opinion. At the very least, we're outnumbered in the midfield in this Portland matchup. And depending on who you ask, potentially outclassed. David DeCosta is a fantastic player. Moreno had a fantastic game against us. Ashala always causes us problems. And João Ortiz and then Diego Chara replacing him was not an easy task for our midfield. So I give a lot of credit to the front four, including Marcel Hartel. And yeah, fantastic work.
all right. Yeah, speaking of Marcel Hartel, my point for this week is really just to give that man his respect because that's one player that has consistently showed up and been creating chances. I read just before the episode that he was 90 in the 96th percentile for chances created in the MLS currently,
It's incredible, man.
which is ridiculous, and it just shows that he is a class player, and we're just extremely unlucky right now. But this week, he finally gets his end product, and yeah, week in, week out, always starting. And I want to give him the Iron Man shout because he's consistently been available. Unlike a lot of players that we do love, Marcel Hartel is always there to make it happen for us. Two smashing goals this week to earn City 3 points. Um, and not only those two goals, but also created seven chances this match and didn't
Wow.
register an assist. So pieces are starting to come together for City. People are coming healthy. We can hold it together. We just got to take this momentum that we're building right now and take it one game at a time. Honestly, like I said last week, I'm honestly not even worried about playoffs anymore. I think we should just take it
Yeah.
one game at a time, take each positive as it comes in and just try to keep improving week in and week out and building towards being a better club because that's all we really can do right now towards the end of the season. And one way that we can do that is by easily making some transfers. There has
Ooh.
been some big rumors floating around that have been reported on by some pretty prominent figures in the MLS Twitter space. Tom Bogert has reported that St. Louis City is finalizing deals for two different players from one club. That would be Minnesota United, and St. Louis is acquiring Song Bin Jong
Yep.
and Devin Paddleford. So it looks like Songbin is going to be on a permanent deal, possibly Devin Paddleford being on a loan. Um, Ethan, what do you know about these guys? What can you tell me?
So I'll start with Paddleford because my ball knowledge is very short as far as he's concerned.
Yeah,
I
me
know
too.
he's a dog. He's got that kind of gritty mentality that I think will fit in nicely with St. Louis. But I know that Song Bin was playing for the Wolverhampton Wolves like 2 years ago, and now he's a St. Louis City player. That's a lot of quality in a player. And I have high expectations, frankly. I know that he is a somewhat of a fan favorite for Minnesota. I know that he fell out of favor once they got a new manager and switched to a five back formation.
Hmm.
So I think that he could potentially fit into our formation and style of play very well. I think he plays on the left hand side. So we're adding in a bit of depth on the wing and in the attack, which I really like. It's it seems like the front office has noticed that we are lacking goals, went out and found a player that would be of value to our club, is not of value to his current club, and is bringing him in. So I have hope, Grayson. For once, I'm feeling optimistic about St. Louis City and these Paddleford. I don't really have feelings about, but I'm feeling optimistic about Song Bin. What about you?
Yeah, kind of same. I can't speak on Paddleford too much. He's played a lot of minutes in the USL recently. He's actually played against City too, uh, quite recently. I want to say like last week or 2 weeks ago. But with Song Bin, he is an interesting one. He can definitely fill a lot of different roles. I went through his most recent matches. He's been utilized on as a wing midfielder, like left mid, right mid, uh,
Mhm.
popping around. It seems like he can play on both sides. So honestly, right now, I'd like to see him utilized maybe as right wing. I think that's a spot that um, St. Louis City hasn't really found that spot. I thought it was going to be Zonde Silva. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the player
Yeah,
at the moment, but I think Song Bin could be a really good piece for St. Louis City. I kind of see him as the opposite side of the field from Conrad Vollum, kind of that kind of player. He can play wing back, he can
sure.
play midfield, he can play wing. Just a very versatile player. And I think he does bring a bit of quality. He notably had 2 goals against us.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was right after decision day, right?
yeah, so
Yeah, he kind
it's
of
a
had
fun
the
one.
the nail in our coffin last season.
Yeah. He can also play striker. He's played striker a couple times for Minnesota as well. So very versatile. I'm excited for him.
Also,
It's not like the craziest signing ever, but I think it's positive.
yeah, me too, Grayson. And another reason why I think it's positive is because of the roster moves that he occupies. This is according to STL.citizens and City Views on Instagram, two very reliable MLS content creators. Uh, he just recently acquired his green card, so he won't occupy an international slot.
Boom.
And I believe through the end of the season, he will occupy a U22 roster spot. So a pretty good bit of business by Lutz to not take up spots on our main roster. He's been under fire this season. People are
Quite
calling
a
for the
bit.
head of Lutz
Quite a bit.
because of his transfers, and the jury's still out for me. I trust in Lutz. I believe that he can steward this club in the best direction, but the numbers will have to speak for themselves. He has way more misses than hits than misses as far as transfers go for me.
Yeah, I mean, I could not have predicted many of the transfers that he's made. Uh, the only one I still think about to this day, Bobby Firmino. What if?
Uh,
What if? What if, man?
one day,
He's
man.
still playing. He's still playing, but he is
I
like
don't know if we can compete with
30.
those Saudi
So
paychecks, dude.
so no no no. But yeah, I mean with Lutz, I think that I can't think of anyone else I'd rather be in that position at this moment. I For
Yeah.
the most part, I've been happy with what he's put together. I love this club. So I love the team that he's created. You know, it's changed a bit. It's not performed as well as we had hoped, but I think we've seen it can be successful. We've seen it can be a very awesome product on the field. So we're just trying to get back to the good old days, to season one uh, skill levels, you know.
Well, I'm feeling nostalgic about year one. Grayson, before we move into Kit Clash and into our preview, do you have any final thoughts about this Minnesota game, my man?
Portland game.
Oh my God. Yeah, Minnesota's on the mind because
Minnesota's
of
on
the
the mind.
transfers. Thanks for
I get
that.
it. No, I get it. I get it. I get it. Not really. I'm very proud that we were able to earn points against a very good team. We controlled most of the
Yeah,
game. I kind of said it last week that the stats were lying to us that, you know, St. Louis was putting together a very good game stats wise, but it's not passing the eye test. And hey, my praise has got to be just as loud as my critique.
fair
So I
enough,
gotta
brother.
say that the
Fair enough.
stats ain't lying this week. because St. Louis put a hurting on Portland, all the way from 13th place all the way up to 5th. How's the weather up there? It sounds like it's pretty bad because you just lost to St. Louis City.
Well, man, if San Diego's up there, then the number one spot is nailed down by the next most recent expansion side. I think my final thoughts on this game are that I'm in complete agreement with you, dude. I think Yaziel Orozco has done enough to earn the starting left back spot. I also really appreciate Critchley's approach to these last two games, playing younger players, tweaking the roster in different ways, just seeing where tweaks can be made and improved, like including Josh Yarrow at center back, dude. He gives him another run out at when I would have I would have thought Josh Yarrow was done seeing time for St. Louis City. And so to see
Yeah.
him not only instill belief in the players, he's instilled belief in the fans. I'm all behind Critchley right now, but the last interim manager that I got behind was not the man for the job. So right now I'm happy. I don't know what the plan is as far as a coach is concerned. I don't I don't even have thoughts on the matter, dude. I'm riding with Critchley till the end of the season.
Yep. I think I'm trying to have the same mindset, one game at a time. I try not to look forward too much to right now. Just focus on the win. Just enjoy the positives. Soak it in. And hopefully, yeah, we'll try to build on this and we'll see who we can beat. You never know.
Works for me, dude. Works for me. Well, brother, let's break down this Portland Timbers FC kit.
Indeed.
It is
Yes.
actually one that we have seen before, which, you know, isn't bad. I'm
Yeah.
actually think that I'm getting a little bit colder on this kit. I think last season I was really, really high on this jersey between the green and the trees that relate to the city of Portland, but I don't know what it is. This season it's just lacking a little bit of sauce, I think. Maybe I really like their textured jersey, their home jersey with the ring textures coming from the crest, and it's just missing something. I would like one more little element in this jersey to really make it great, but it is very unique for me. So I'm still going to go on the higher side. I'm going to say an 8.2 for me on the Portland Timbers kit.
I agree. Something about this kit makes me not like it as much as I used to, but I do still like
Yeah.
this kit. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but I do really rate it. I think the graphics, the pine graphics are awesome. I'm a big fan of the central crest. There's not
Ugh,
too many teams, not too many kits that can pull it off, but the
it is.
logo, the logo, and then honestly, the Tillamook, I don't even know what Tillamook is,
I
but
think it's ice
it
cream.
it fits. Like I feel like
Really?
I don't know what it is, but it fits the kit really well. I think it's the font maybe. It's just
Yeah,
got
it
that
does. It
like
does have a Portland kind
Portland
of
feel.
aura about it,
I
doesn't
don't know
it?
what it is, but I do still love this kit. I think last year I probably would have put it like a higher nine, maybe. I think I would have gave it like a 9.5. I'm gonna give it an 8.8 because I still really like this kit.
That's reasonable. Yeah,
But I
that's
don't
that's
I
fair.
it's a little off this year. I don't know what
Yeah,
it is.
something about it
It's
is
getting
just
old. It's
not.
it's last year's kit.
Yeah, dude, we need those third jerseys. We need the MLS third jerseys
Hey,
ASAP,
I
brother.
keep seeing leaks after leak on Twitter, and I'm very excited to see some kits. I saw Seattle's leaked their kit. I don't know
Ooh,
if I sent that one to you. I'll have to send that to you. It was nice.
I've seen the Dallas Burn jersey that they're doing, and I'm very,
Yes.
very impressed. I have truly, truly, I've never seriously considered buying another MLS jersey for another team other than St. Louis City. And
Hmm.
then I saw Jerry Rice in the San Jose Class jersey and was like, oh my God, dude.
That looks cool.
I mean, like, yeah, I might have to get that. They are sick. So I'm definitely looking out for that.
Yeah. I will say there was one time I was out thrifting in St. Louis and I found a Metro Stars jersey,
Wow.
but it was an extra, extra large, and I was a very tiny man at the time, so I did not get it. But I should have got it anyways and just like hung it up on the wall because that was a crazy find.
Yeah, that would have been a crazy pull, but life goes on, dude.
Life goes on. But you mentioned Dallas. Let's go ahead and get into our preview Next week, we are going up against FC Dallas, who is not in a great run of form, to say the least, losing their last four matches, albeit against some very good sides. They lost last week against
Yep.
LAFC, to Minnesota United, to San Diego, to the Quakes. Most recent win was against Sporting KC. So, congratulations on that.
Been actually a month to the day at the time we're recording this since they last won a game. And Grayson, you did mention that they came up against some good opponents in that time span. Their victory over Kansas City was notable. I believe actually come from behind. I believe they were 2-0 down in that game and ended up winning. However, I think this is a fantastic opponent for St. Louis City to have coming off the back of an upset victory at home. Not only has Dallas been struggling in their last four games, Grayson, they have another midweek game against San Jose this week. St. Louis is actually off this midweek, which I found fantastic. I love that.
Gotta love it. I
I
am
don't know
not a
about
fan of
you
midweek matches. Not a fan
as
of midweek
as an
matches.
employed
So
person.
yeah,
So yeah, love that St. Louis City is getting to come into this game off the back of a victory, off the back of a slightly more rested team. And you mentioned Grayson, their last time out, they played LAFC. They dropped 2-0. Denny Bowanga and Nathan Ordaz on the day. And like St. Louis City, dude, Dallas just sit well under 500, a team struggling, a team that I believed would have been better coming into the season. Peter Musa really been struggling for them this year, just has not been effective. Honestly, similar to João Klaus.
yeah.
Luciano
I was about to
Acosta.
say they're kind of nearing similar stats at this point. I think Moose has got 7 league goals. I think Klaus might also have 6 or 7 league goals at this point. So very, very talented player, but it just really hasn't come to fruition in Dallas. Um,
And to
yeah,
their credit, they have some good players on their squad, dude. Martin Paez is definitely
so good.
not this season, but a traditionally very good MLS goalkeeper. I mean, Luciano Acosta is must see TV in the MLS as far as I'm concerned. It's surprising to see Dallas not at a level that I would expect to see challenging. But like I said, I love that St. Louis City has a chance to play Dallas at FC Dallas right now.
Exactly. This could be a very good way for us to make some progress up on the table because Dallas sits directly in front of us. So if we're able to earn 3 points on Dallas, we will be tied with them on the table. Um, assuming that they don't earn any points this midweek match. But yeah, so I'm honestly, I have a pretty good feeling about this. I I'm not sure what I'm gonna predict. I'm gonna let
Grayson,
you go first. I want you to go first.
before I spit out my prediction, I'm gonna name a couple players worth noting on FC Dallas if you are unfamiliar. Of course, Peter Musa would be their normal talisman, but I think this season Pedrinho has stepped up for them.
Hmm.
A rule of thumb: if Eno is in the name, they're worth watching. I couldn't tell you an Eno player that I have not enjoyed watching in my life. Pedrinho fits that bill. Another great player on their team, Logan Farrington, former U.S. national Sebastian Letget is still running around on there, and one of the most memed players of the MLS, Shaq Moore, starting it right back for them. I think he's overhated. Shaq Moore is a pretty decent player, if you ask me.
Nah, he's solid.
On that note, I am going to predict a St. Louis City victory, Grayson. After this weekend, I have been on the hopium hard, not the other thing, not the other thing. I've
Opiate.
never touched that.
Opiates.
I'm on the hopium. I am hoping a lot for St. Louis City. I love what I saw against Portland and believe that that's the momentum game, Grayson. That's the momentum game. That's the game that kicks us into gear, gets us some victories when we maybe weren't expecting them. So I'm going to actually go and say 3-1 here for St. Louis City. And I'm going to pick Cedric Toiker to hit the back of the net because this seems like his game. This seems like a game where he might have a chip on his shoulder, man. He's seeing Hartel score. He's seeing Klaus score. He's seeing
Hmm.
how effective Pompeiu's being. And I think he's maybe thinking to himself, I gotta let them know who I am as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Seti Toikert as my goal scorer this week on a 3-1 St. Louis City victory over FC Dallas.
I was thinking the exact same thing. We've had a Klaus Team of the Week performance. We've had a Hartel Team of the Week performance. Simon Betcher scored a couple weeks ago, coming back to scoring after a slight goal scoring drought. So yeah, exactly.
It's
Toiker, his week, it's coming. It's coming. It's due. He's putting shots
due.
together. He's improving on performances. So yeah, I think Toiker could have a really good game next week. I honestly agree. I think St. Louis City is gonna win this one. I feel good. I think it's all about the mindset. If we're able to have the same mindset that we had this week,
Yeah.
who cares if they score first? We're able to come back, put a couple of goals past you, and take the win from you regardless. So if we can come out strong like that, we can earn a win. I think it's going to be 2-1. And since you went Toiker, I think Klaus comes back. It seems recently he's been scoring every other game, or
Okay.
so I'm gonna give it to Klaus.
Okay. Okay. I'll provide just a little bit of context in the history of the match as well for you, Grayson, just see if that changed anything. The last time we played them was actually in Leagues Cup last season. We
Uh,
won 2-1. So a pretty decent result for us. Before that, 2-0 to Dallas in that same season. Before that, a 0-0 draw. Before that, 2-1. And before that, 2-0 them. So kind of an even fixture as far as I'm concerned.
Dallas is one of those teams that um, the games start to feel somewhat like a rivalry because I feel like it's a team that we see very often. I think it was just because of the Leagues Cup because we just
Yeah.
saw them and then saw them in the league very close after that, where we started to see matchups a lot. Players going after the same player, and also that was the game I believe that Celio Pompeo got Pompe Jeez, I can't speak this week. Celio Pompeo got injured in one of the matches against FC Dallas. So
Yep.
a little bit of a grudge there. So I think this game might have a little bit of an edge to it for sure. So I still think 2-1 on top. It's going to be a scrappy game. Klaus is going to score, and Toikert's going to score.
I love it, brother. All right. Well, you have any final thoughts, Grayson, before I take us out of here?
St. Louis City dub feels good. Just soak it in. I feel like there's no need to be negative on social media this week. We've had enough of that all season. So let's give the players a break. Yeah, okay?
Well, if you made it this far in the episode, I'm happy to reveal that Jacob is actually not here because he is crawling around doing spy work in the air conditioning of other clubs. So we should have some insider information for you on other transfers here soon. For legal reasons, that's a joke. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us. If you're still with us, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Please rate us 5 stars on Spotify and leave us a review. It really helps us out. And most importantly, do not forget to tell your mother you love her.
Love you,
Thank you
Mom.
for joining us. Peace. STL.
STL. STL.
STL.
STL.